traders. So not, from my understanding, I'm not sure if this is accurate. So if I'm not accurate, please forgive me and correct me in response on Twitter. But when they say they're funding them, then now they're in a live account where they're actually trading with real money. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's the tier above express funded, or what would be considered classically funded, what everybody tries to get to, basically. If you look at the statistics, I'm not sure if Michael Patak or Top Step has made it public what the statistics are in terms of the rate of success for people that try to get funded and get payouts. But if you look at the numbers that some of the other Forex funded account companies, they have been very forthcoming, which I have a great deal of respect for, because they're telling you openly, like, you have next to zero chance of doing this unless you know what you're doing. You're probably going to fail. And when people see those statistics, and I got to be real careful how I say these things, because I don't want to sound like I'm pissing all over them, and I don't want to sound like I'm propping any of them up or representing them. Okay. What my son did was in and of itself, he made the decision to do that. I didn't inspire him to pick any one particular company. He picked Top Step because he saw the ads on YouTube. So that's the one. Like anything else, when you think of something, when you think of a plumbing problem, what do you think of in the United States? Roto-Rooter. Okay, it's the shit, right? Well, I don't use Roto-Rooter, by the way. That's really probably not a good example. But when you think of something, whatever's been advertised and put in front of you, because of what I talked about in the live stream, is priming. Okay, and advertising, the people that put the most money and capital behind their advertising, they're the one that's going to get, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Well, Cameron chose Top Step, not because I said pick this one, because I never would have picked any of them. I wasn't of the opinion that I wouldn't want my son going that route. I was ready to give him money, and he was saying, I don't want to do it that way, Dad. I want to be able to say, I did it. Well, he did it. But his initial soiree with it, where I think he failed, I think he told me 7 times he tried to pass it and failed, but he was doing everything wrong that you could possibly do. Over leveraging, trying to trade the maximum, no idea what he was doing. Okay. And then we spent about a month of sitting down with, these are the rules. These are the rules. Okay. You don't have discipline, but the only way you can forge that discipline is by using these fucking rules. Okay. What rules are they? You have to know where you're aiming for. Because if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And for some of you, that went right over your head. But you have to have a target. You have to have a target in mind where you're aiming for with price. What is it reaching for? If you can't ascertain that by looking at a chart, you have absolutely no business pushing a button where you incur risk, even if it's demo, because the outcome is going to be detrimental to your development, because you're going to be feeding yourself toxic results that were rooted on no real rhyme or reason or model. But you're going to take it as a kick in the ass. You're going to take it as failure. You're not getting what you want, a dopamine hit. So you're treating it like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend that were toxic, and they just keep calling you and you don't want nothing to do with them. That's eventually what you'll treat business with, relationships. That way you'll have that same thing towards the markets and trading, which is the reason why I talk to you this way. I use analogies so that way you can draw parallels to something that, oh, I understand what that feels like. I don't want that to feel like that when I'm trading. Don't do the shit you're doing. Do the things I'm telling you to do and avoid the things I tell you to avoid. But here's my son. He's wanting to go out there and show me it's just like video games, and he's going to be, Mr. I am having a senior moment. I can't remember that. Fortnite. He's really, really good at Fortnite, and he's really, really good at Call of Duty. Like, he's fucking badass. Like, he's kicks my ass. He's really, really good, and it's amazing. He thought that was going to be the same thing for him when he got into this. He has that tenacious, like, I'm going to do it, Dad. And if it's hard, I'm going to be that much more inspired to do it. But then when he got his ass beat trying to do the combines and failed the 7 times or so that he did it, I watched him. He was sulking. He's just like, you could see it in his face. He wasn't walking around with his shoulders back like he always was. He's, the typical 18-year-old boy. right? Knows everything. And I told him, I said, look, here's the rules. You have to aim for an hourly or a 15-minute high. Which one's you going to reach for? The obvious one that it's trying to get to. That's all you need. That's all you need, man. That's all you need. And then when you know that, you drop down to a 1 or 5 minute chart and you wait for a 1 or 5 minute stop hunt that's against that draw on liquidity. So if you're thinking it's going to go up, you wait for a swing low to be taken out on a 1 or 5 minute chart. As soon as it does that on that time frame, you have to wait for, if it's a swing low that it takes out, you have to wait for an up close candle to form immediately after that swing low is taken out. As soon as that happens, then immediately you drop down to a 30-second chart and you buy the first fair value gap. That's easy shit, man. That's easy. There's simple parameters to that. It's based on the market's going to gravitate to that higher time frame draw. You just had a stop hunt on a lower time frame. So there should be what? A displacement going towards the next opposing liquidity that's higher time frame than the one you're entering on, which is 30 seconds, right? Let's drop my laptop here. Hold on 1 second. I only have one laptop, by the way. These fucking people talking about I got all these laptops. I got one. All right, so the model had rules. You have to do this, do this, do this. And once you have it, whatever your winning trade is, whatever it is, you eat it, you take it home, and that's what it is. Do not re-enter. Well, what is he lacking? Discipline. How does he forge it? Doing it. Doing it and then not doing it and failing and getting the repercussions of it. Okay, that's progress. What happens if he takes a losing trade? He stops. But what if he sees another setup? He can't take it. What does he lack? Discipline. So when he tries to do a second trade and he makes money on it, what does he hear from me? Why are you doing that? But Dad, look what I mean. Why did you not listen? The whole point of this is for you to forge what? Discipline, following a model, because that will yield you the results. You coloring outside the lines is not you following the rules. The wins that you make outside of your model are not to be celebrated. That's you cheating on your wife and getting away with it. That doesn't mean keep doing it, or it's good because her feelings didn't get hurt, or vice versa. I'm giving you an extreme that maybe it doesn't fit you in a sense of an analogy, but in my mind, you are cheating on the model. You're not giving it time, energy, focus that it requires, that it deserves. I took the time to sit down and write this model up, gave him the rule-based ideas that he has to follow. Any deviations outside of that, if it's a win, I don't give a fuck about that win. That doesn't matter. That is a losing trade to me. It doesn't mean shit to me. How can you measure that? That's not part of the equation here. It's outside of the logic. So you can't champion it. You can't give it its props and say, yeah, look at this. Who gives a shit about that? And that's what some of you might be doing in your early stages of your progress. You're doing things outside of a model. And when you win, it's gain, it's profit. I feel good. Yeah, woo, this is what I want to do. And to make it feel better, because even though I know I feel a little guilty about it because I didn't really know what the hell I was doing and it worked for me, I'm going to share it on social media. Because if I get some likes, that dopamine hit will overcompensate for the fucking things I'm feeling that are rooted in guilt and reality, that it wasn't really rooted on any logic or model. It just happened to work out that time. So the facts are, my son beat the statistics. He went out there and not only did he get on the other side of those 7 losing attempts to try to get a funded account, he went out there and got 3 of them all at one time. He used all 3 of them at the same time and then passed them all. Then told me, he said, I want to use one of them and just try to see if I can do what you're saying. Ultimately, he showed progress. He had days where he did what he was supposed to do, but didn't do it all the time. And eventually it caught up with him. And on Friday, he burned the last $800. And his logic was, I don't care because I'm going to start a new one.